हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. We'll continue our discussion. So yesterday we were discussing about this very famous verse. Yennamadeha shravananukirtanat yad pravanati smaranadapi kvachit swadopi sadhya shravanaya kalpate kutah punaste bhagavannu darshana. So this is what Devotee is telling about Lord Kapila. She is glorifying and what all she received. So I told the prayers will be related to how the Lord reciprocated to them. So when Bhishma is praying, he is relating to Lord as a warrior because Lord reciprocated with him like the Kunti Maharani, she is relating to as a nephew. That's how Lord reciprocated. And here we see Brahma, he relates to Lord as a person who helped in creation and his services. And here Devoti, she is telling, "Oh, you have come appeared in my abdomen as my child." So that's how she relating. But along with that, she also is telling, "You gave the knowledge," because what Kapila did to Devoti is gave the knowledge. So she is telling the same thing that you have helped in gaining the knowledge. You gave the knowledge to all of us and distributed this transcendental knowledge to your dependents. And then she gives very famous verse. She says, to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifice if he once utter the holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, why she is telling, Are, I am directly seeing you and you are in front of me in my house. What to just by chanting your name, one is eligible to perform the sacrifices. He becomes so qualified. What to speak of a person who is seeing you face to face? Uh, how much spiritual advancement we make? The advancement who is spiritual, who sees you face to face. So this is, and then we discussed how even though we see the Lord, we should not commit offenses, which is what is discussed here. And then Ahobatas supachoto gariyan yajjihvagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhuva swashnagriya brahmana churnam gunanti yete. This is, oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your lordships must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your lordship, they must have bathed at all holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. That means all these things are all the taking bath in all pilgrimage. Now crores of people are going to Kumbh Mela, which is actually mm, which is good only, but more important than it is because if you go Kumbh Mela and take bath, it is very expensive now. You really have to spend good fortune to go to Kumbh Mela and take bath. But the point is what? Of course, you have all facilities. You just the point is what that people they go they can clear from their karma, but the heart don't change only. That is the main problem. Here, all these activities which are mentioned here executed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, achieved all good manners of Aryans, and must have bathed in all holy places. They can be purified from the sinful reactions, but the sinful tendencies cannot be overcome. So that is actually the real problem. Here, all these things will help to get rid of sinful reactions, but not tendency. So that is the point. But if we chant the holy name can help us. get rid of the tendency to commit sins. So that's why even the sixth canto also this discussion comes between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami, where he says that just one chanting, Neharam iva bhaskara. When the sun did not come, but just before the sun comes, all the fog and darkness is dissipated. Similarly, just the holy name once appears, immediately it removes all sinful reactions, but not only sinful reaction, the tendency also. That's why the holy name is much more greater. It is considered you have done everything because all these activities which are mentioned austerity, sacrifice, study of Vedas, and performing duties, this, that, everything is to get rid of sinful reaction. Change of heart may not take place. Change, they may give up the sinful, some level of sin, but the desire to enjoy does not go. So here, some may not be doing sinful activities and they are very good, they are very pious, but what is the most important desire is desire to serve, desire to serve the Supreme Lord. This desire does not appear. This is only appearing because when chants the holy name. Otherwise, he will just end up in how to enjoy in this material world nicely. So this transformation does not live. Of course, people who are doing all these activities, they also chant the names of the holy name of Lord, but they don't chant with that. They don't chant with that pure understanding. So that is actually what is important. We'll try to understand properly a very huge purport. As it is stated in the previous verse, a person who has once offenselessly chanted, so this is the main point, offenselessly chanted, again and again this is mentioned, chanted the holy name of, becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic Saga, that is previous verse. One should not be astonished by the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. One should not disbelieve or think, how by chanting the holy name of Lord can one become a holy man to be compared to the most elevated Brahmanas? Yes. Why? Because his heart has changed. To eradicate such doubts in the minds of unbelievers, this verse affirms that the stage of chanting holy name of Lord is not sudden, but that the chanters have already performed all kinds of Vedic rituals and sacrifice. It is not very astonishing, for no one in this life can chant the holy name of Lord unless he has passed all lower stages, such as performing a Vedic ritual, sacrifices, studying the Vedas, and practicing good behavior like the Aryans. All this must first have been done. Just as a student in the law class is to be understood to have already graduated from the general education, anyone who is engaged in the chanting of holy name of Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, must have already passed all lower stages. It is said that those who simply chant the holy name with the tip of the tongue are glorious. One does not even have to chant the holy name to understand the whole procedure, namely the offensive stage, offenseless stage, and pure stage. If the holy name is sounded on the tip of the tongue, that is also sufficient. It is said here that Nama, a singular number, one name, Krishna or Rama, is sufficient. It is not that one has to chant all the holy names. Just somebody says Rama, finish, free from all sinful reactions. One name is sufficient. The holy name of Lord have are innumerable, and one does not have to chant all the names to provide prove that he has already understood all the processes of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. If one chants once only, it is to be understood they are already passed all the examinations. Not to speak of those who are chanting always 24 hours a day. It is especially said here, Tubhyam, unto you only. So one must chant God's name not as the Mayavadi philosopher says, any name such as a demigod's name or name of God's energies. No, only the holy name of Supreme Lord will be effective. Anyone who compares the holy name of Supreme Lord to the names of demigods is called Pashand, an offender. So why these people who are performing Vedic rituals, they chant the holy name, but they commit offenses. They think, okay, they think it's equal to any other demigod name. They don't understand what exactly is the name. They need not chant any other. They are all chanting with offenses and with wrong mentality. Here it is said they are like Pashandis also. Why? Because they don't have that clear understanding. That's why they are not getting benefit, unfortunately. This is a very important thing that people know they start chanting they go for other mantras, other things. They don't have faith in the holy name. Just Hare Krishna is sufficient. No need of for marriage is not happening. So they go to Astra, give some mantras. They give some Narsimha mantras if their health is not good, and some other high grave mantra for knowledge. They are all names of Lord only, but we should know that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is most important than all other mantras. Why? Other mantras will help to overcome certain problems. But what Hare Krishna Mahamantra gives, no other mantra gives. That is prema for the Lord. That is the main difference. Other mantras are there. Okay, if somebody has really very serious problems, so they chant Narsim Dev prayers, Narsim mantras, Narsimha Kavacha. That is not wrong. But Narsimha Kavacha, Narsimha mantras or whatever cannot give us prema. Only Hare Krishna gives the prema. So that's why we should be very, very clear with Hare Krishna mantra. We should be very, and same thing with other mantras also. We should be very careful how we chant the other means we need not go for any other mantras. Now they have come in ISKCON also, so many other pujas, other mantras, but it is actually not correct. They lack faith in Hare Krishna mantra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not give only any other mantra. He just chanted Hare Krishna and he preached Hare Krishna. We should also do the same thing. And that means we have faith and like for birth and death, everywhere we have the same mantra. Birthday also we chant Hare Krishna. A child is born Hare Krishna, somebody is dying Hare Krishna, everywhere Hare Krishna only. Because that is what is important. Actually, okay, we will complete this and I'll take another. The holy name has to be chanted to please the Supreme Lord, not for any sense gratification or professional purpose. All these people who charge for chanting, na, it is actually offense, not for any sense gratification. All these professional singers. In ISKCON also we have some professional. They chant to produce the videos on YouTube. They are professional. That is actually not the proper way. You cannot charge for chanting the holy name. You personally, it is not benefiting for them. And then what to speak of when somebody hears? It gives some entertainment. It does not change the heart. They may get some emotional feeling. Proji, I heard that Kirtan they sang. I know I got tears in my eyes. It is just an emotional state. It is not the change of heart. Nothing is happening there. We have to hear from pure devotee. Like Prabhupada Dun. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So simple, but it has changed millions of people's heart. Why? That is devotion is there. So this professional chanting it won't work. It should be for pleasing the Supreme Lord. All these professional music albums, even by devotees also, and they charge money for their performances and all. That won't work. If they chanted for pleasing the Lord, that makes a difference. If this pure mentality is there, then even though a person is born in a low family, such as dog eater, is so glorious. Not only has he purified himself, but he is quite competent to deliver others. So all these hippies who became transformed, they are not actually of high birth. Their families are, no, they're beef eaters. And but now they are gurus and their family is beef eaters, but they became gurus and they are delivering the whole world. He is competent to speak on the importance of the transcendental name, just as Haridas Thakur did. He was apparently born in a family of Mohammedans, but because he was chanting the holy name of Supreme Lord offenselessly, Lord Chaitanya empowered him to become the authority or Acharya of spreading the name. We have so many such examples in ISKCON who are all born in such families, but now they became Acharyas in spreading the holy name. It did not matter that he was born in a family which was not following the Vedic rules and regulations. Like we have Sachinandan Maharaj, how enthusiastically he spreads the holy name. No? So many retreats he takes on the holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Prabhu accepted him as an authority because he was offenselessly chanting the holy name of the Lord. Authorities like Advaita Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya immediately accepted that he was already performed all kinds of austerities, studied the Vedas, and performed all sacrifices. That is automatically understood. There is a hereditary class of Brahmanas called the Smartha Brahmanas, however, who are of the opinion that even if such persons who are chanting the holy name of Lord are accepted as purified, they still have to perform the Vedic rites to or await their next birth in a family of Brahmanas so that they can perform the Vedic rituals. But actually, that is not the case. Such a man does not need to wait for the next birth to become purified. He is at once purified, and we can, in front of our eyes, we can see such great personalities, great gurus in ISKCON who are not born in any great Brahmana family, but they are now so qualified and more advanced than many of the big Brahmanas in India. Now it is understood that he has already performed all sorts of rites. It is the so-called Brahmanas who actually have to undergo different kinds of austerities before reaching the point of purification. And there are many other Vedic performances which are not described here. All such Vedic rituals have been already performed by the chanters of the holy name. When ISKCON devotees they went to Radha Raman temple and then the pujaris they blessed. Okay, next life you will be born you will be born as a in Vrindavan or you will be born in as a Brahmana families. And then they came and told to Prabhupada, they were very happy that no, they blessed that we'll be born in Brahmana family next life. And Prabhupada understood that actually they are not blessing, they are actually telling that now you are nature Sevanas, you will be born Brahmanas in next life. And Prabhupada said, okay, go and tell them that in next life they will be born in ISKCON. So they were like trying to criticize. And Prabhupada said, oh, you tell them they will be born in ISKCON. Because this is the mentality they have. They feel that who are in ISKCON, they are just chanting the holy name. They are not born in a Brahmana family and then they are not eligible for all these things. It is not correct. The word Juhvaha means that the chanters of the holy name have already performed all kinds of sacrifices. Shushnuhu means they have already traveled to all the holy places of pilgrimage and taken part in the purificatory activities at these places. They are called Arya because they have already finished all these requirements and therefore they must be among the Aryans or those who have qualified themselves to become Aryans. Aryans refers to those who are civilized, whose manners are regulated according to Vedic rituals. That means Aryan means who is moving ahead, moving forward in terms of his consciousness, not just material progress. The people who are progressing materially are called not Aryans. Who are spiritually progressing, even though both are moving, one is moving in a materialistic direction, one is moving in a spiritual direction. Aryan means one is moving ahead in terms of his consciousness. Any devotee who is chanting the holy name of Lord is the best kind of Aryan. That is the best person who is changing his consciousness. Actually, formulas are very simple. Only thing is people are very complicated. That's why They feel things should be very complicated. Formula is very simple. Chant Hare Krishna and then elevate your consciousness, come back to God. But people, they are very complicated, so they feel that they need to uh, have some very big pressure. If they see somebody is coming and performing big yajna and all, they feel now it is something something is happening. Nothing need to happen. Just chant Hare Krishna and everything is so very simple. Every day hear Bhagavatam, chant the holy name. Hear Bhagavatam, chant the holy name, and take prasadam. Can go back, come back to God. Unless one studies the Vedas, one cannot become Aryan. But it is automatically understood that the chanters have already studied all Vedic literature. Means here the purpose is served. That's why it is counted like that. Array, you didn't study. None of us studied Vedic literature. How is it that it is counted as we have studied? The point is that no, you know the purpose behind it. That's what Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita also. Like there are so many different water bodies in a village, but if there is a big river flowing, it will serve all the purposes of different wells in the village. But similarly, if you know the purpose of the Vedas, then we already, and it is implied that you already studied it. So the purpose of Vedas is to chant the holy name. At the end, we have to surrender to Krishna and chant his holy name. So that is already achieved. The specific word used here is anucha, which means that because they have already completed all those recommended acts, they have become qualified to be spiritual masters. So no need of any other things. We just have to chant and read Bhagavatam and perfection is guaranteed. The word gridanti, which is used in the verse, means to be already established in the perfectional stage of ritualistic performances. So at last it is what? To Vedes Sarver Ahameva Vedya. To know Krishna is the purpose of Vedas. And all the rituals are also for the pleasure of Lord. And then that's what we are doing. And what is the best ritual for this? Sankirtana. We just have to chant the holy name. If one is seated on the bench of a high court and is giving judgment on cases, it means that he has already passed all legal exams and is better than those who are engaged in study of law or those expecting to study law in the future. In a similar way, persons who are chanting the holy name are transcendental to those who are actually performing the Vedic rituals and those who expect to be qualified. Or in other words, those who are born in families of Brahmanas but have not yet undergone the reformatory processes and who therefore expect to study the Vedic rituals and perform the sacrifices in future. So this is persons who there is a gradual method and this is a fast method. There are many Vedic statements in different places saying that anyone who chants the holy name of Lord becomes immediately free from conditional life and that anyone who hears the holy name of Lord, even though born of the family of dog eaters, also becomes liberated from the clutches of material entanglement. तत्त्वामहं ब्रह्म परं पुमांसां प्रत्यक्षश्रुतस्य आत्मनि संविभाव्यं स्वतेजसाद्यष्टगुणप्रवाह वन्दे विष्णुं कल्पिलं वेदगर्भम्. I believe, my Lord, Devati is telling to Kapila, that you are Lord Vishnu himself under the name of Kapila, and you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme Brahman. The saints, the sages, being free from all the disturbances of the senses and mind, meditate upon you, for by your mercy only can one become free from the clutches of three modes of material nature. At the time of dissolution, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. And Devati, the mother of Kapila, instead of prolonging her prayer, summarized that Lord Kapila was none other than Vishnu, and since she was a woman, it was not possible her to worship him properly simply by prayers. It was her intention that Lord be satisfied. the verb Pratyek is significant. Because why she is telling? Because they don't study Vedas so thoroughly, so you need to use very sophisticated Vedic language to glorify the Lord. But that is not actually needed. Many people do like that. But for Lord is more interested in the sweet the devotion of the Lord, of the gopis and all the devotees. That's what even Kunti Marani, Tata Paramamsana, Munina Mamalatmana, Bhaktyoga Vidanartham, Tadam Pashyema hi striyaha. So we are women, what can I pray? In the yogic practice, the eight divisions are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Pratyahara means to wind up the activities of the senses. The level of realization of the Supreme Lord evident by Devotee is possible when one is able to withdraw the senses from material activities. When one is engaged in devotional service, there is no scope for his senses to be engaged otherwise. In such full Krishna consciousness, one can understand the Supreme Lord. So, very easily they can reach to the stage of Samadhi. Now, Maitreya is telling about Lord Kapila. Maitreya Vacha ईडितो भगवान् एवं कपिलख्या परः पुमान् व्याचाविक्लव्यते आहा मातरं मात्र वत्सला. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila, satisfied by the words of his mother, towards whom he was very affectionate, replied with gravity. And Lord, exhibition of affection for his mother was also complete. Anything Lord does, Lord is all perfect. So it's a sweet relation, mother and son relation, very sweet relationship. And after hearing the words of his mother, he most respectfully, with due gravity and good manners, replied, Lord is perfect in everything. Kapila Vacha Margenam Martaste Shushe Noditena me Ashtitena Param Kashtam Achirad Avarotsayasi. The personality of Godhead said, My dear mother, the path of self realization, which I have already instructed to you, is very easy. You can execute the system without difficulty, and by following it, you shall very soon be liberated even within your present body. Very interesting. Now, Lord Kapila is not telling mother, rest assured everything will happen, you can go and sleep. You do whatever you want, I will deliver you. He is not telling that. He is telling, my dear mother, the path of self-realization which I have already instructed you is very easy. And he is telling you can execute the system without difficulty. That means she has to execute only. This is the important, most important thing. Why it is important? Lord is not doing any magic. You don't want to do any magics. Of course, there is some people like Kripa Siddhi, without doing anything, Lord gives. But Lord wants us to do something. What He wants us to do? He wants us to execute the system of devotional service. We have to practice it. And then Lord want to help us. People, why they go to many demigods or some gurus and all these things? Because they want them to give an assurance, okay, it will happen to you and you pay some donation, some money or some bribe or some. It is bribing the demigods or bribing the demigods, telling I'll do this, do for me. People don't want to work hard in changing the consciousness and all these things. They are just interested in the result. I should get, I want. I am not going to, I'll pay, but I am not going to work in changing the consciousness, which is a very, very difficult thing for people. Sadhana is actually very tough because it is directly working on our subtle body, which is so painful. And we all have to pay this price. Whoever is ready to pay this price, he will get the real result. It's not that, oh, Prabhuji, whole life he is enjoying and then in the end he will chant Hare Krishna. It won't work like that. Life we have to chant, whole life we have to hear Bhagavatam. Prabhuji, every day I have to hear Bhagavatam. Others are hearing only weekly ones. They will get weekly ones benefit only. Every day we have to hear, and this is the way only we have to hear. Every properly, systematically try to understand and hear, then only we are going to get benefited. Otherwise, no way. And this morning, what we are hearing, we should do whole life. And evening we are hearing, we should do whole life. So morning and evening hearing, whole life we should hear. That's what Prabhupada started. Morning Bhagavatam, evening Bhagavad Gita. But anything, morning, evening, we have to hear about Krishna. We have to chant the holy name and then take only prasadam and behave properly according to the Vaishnava etiquette. All these things to be executed properly. Hearing just does not mean we are just spaced out. We have to properly put our consciousness, try to understand it very systematically. That's how we going to be benefited. And Prabhupada writes here. Devotional service is so perfect that simply by following the rules and regulation and executing them under the direction of spiritual master, one is liberated, as it is stated. So even for his mother also, Lord did not give any exemption. He's telling, no, 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 do it very easy only. He did not say, "Arey, no need for you. You already my mother. You can. I'll just take you back to God." He didn't tell her mother like that. You see, he is giving her knowledge, and he want her to execute. Even mother, mother of Lord should practice. See, this is most important that even mother of the Lord should practice. Then what to speak of us? Not that, okay, Prabhuji, I stayed in ISKCON, so I should go back to God. What did you do for going in? Did you give up? Like Purandar Das, when he understood, that time he was Srinivas Nayak or Navakoti Nayak. When he understood that Lord came every day for 6 months to ask charity from him. And later on, when he comes to know that he is Supreme Lord, what, what did he do? He just left the house along with his wife. Such a palatial building. I was thinking, how many, if Lord comes every day to us and asks for 6 months, am I ready to leave my house and go behind the Lord? And in the forest here, there, travel without any security, without any personal belongings, without laptop, without mobile. Am I ready for that? That is actually what Lord is expecting. But just give up everything. You just depend on me. You say, Prabhu, you should be practical. Yeah, practical. The most practical thing is to depend on Lord. There is nothing practical in this world. Everything is going to be doomed. Only one practical thing that we can do in this life is depending on the Lord. We are depending on all our material comforts, material facilities, material assets, material relationships. This is the most impractical thing. Practical thing is only one thing, depending on Krishna. So, and in other yogic process or in the empirical philosophical speculation, one is never certain whether or not he is at the perfectional stage. But in the discharge of devotional service, if one has unflinching faith in the instruction of bona fide spiritual master and follows the rules and regulations, he is sure to be liberated, even within this present body. Regardless of whether he is situated, anyone who only aim is to serve the Supreme Lord under the direction of the spiritual master is called Jivan Mukta. He is already liberated. So Prabhupada is writing, sometimes doubt may arise in the minds of neophytes about whether or not the spiritual master is liberated. And sometimes neophytes are doubtful about the bodily affairs of the spiritual master. The point of liberation, however, is not to see the bodily symptoms. A very important point. So here Prabhupada is telling the point of liberation, however, is not to see the bodily symptoms of spiritual master. Then what we should see whether he is liberated or not? One has to see the spiritual symptoms of the spiritual master, not the bodily symptoms. Jivan Mukta means that even though one is in the material body, there are still some material necessities since the body is material because he is in full he is fully situated in the service of Lord, he should be understood to be liberated. So that is the criteria to know whether he is liberated or not. 24 by 7, he is just thinking about Krishna, Krishna service, and chanting the holy name and all, meditating complete on the is liberated. Liberation entitled being situated in one's own position. What is that? Muktir hitva anyata rupam surupena vyavasthiti. Yeah, here, Muktiritva, Surupena Vyavasthiti. Or actually, identity of the living entity is described by Lord Chaitanya. Jivera Surupa Krishna. So, if we are also 24 by 7 in the service of Lord, we can also consider as a live. So, this is what purpose. One must understand whether or not he is liberated by his activities in devotional service, not by other symptoms. This is what Lord Kapila is telling to Mother Devavati. Shraddha he is telling her to execute devotional service and she will be liberated in the self same body. He is not telling I will liberate you, don't worry, you can just rest assured. No, he's telling do it. Shraddha vitanmattam mahyam jushtam yad brahmavadibhi yena mam abhyam yaya mrityum rachayati atad My dear mother, those who are actually transcendentalists certainly follow my instructions as I have given them to you. That means they have to follow instructions, not just sit silently. Arjuna is such a close friend of Krishna. He is his cousin also. And then he is also the husband of her sister. And for Arjuna also, Krishna did not give an example. He said, oh, follow, what are you telling? You must rest assured that if you traverse this path of self realization perfectly, surely you shall be free from the fearful material contamination and shall ultimately reach my abode. He's telling you will come to my abode, but you have to go through this process. You traverse this path of self realization perfectly. Mother, persons who are not conversant with this method of devotional service certainly cannot get rid of cycle of birth and death. Material existence is full of anxiety and therefore it is fearful. One who gets out of this material existence automatically becomes free from all anxieties and fears. One who follows the path of devotional service initiated by Lord Kapila is very easily liberated. So, this is what Lord Kapila told to Mother. You just follow, you are liberated in the same body. Maitreya said, Iti pradarshaya bhagavan satim tam atmano gatim swamatra brahmavadinya kapilo anumato yayo. Sri Maitreya said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kapila, after instructing his beloved mother, took permission from her and left home, his mission having been fulfilled. So this is now, like previously, the mission of the Lord is that time we don't have online classes. If you want to give classes, you have to travel to place, meet the people there and give instructions. That's why all these sages and all they always continuously keep traveling. And we may ask, why they didn't create this internet facility? They know it is very, very contaminating. It is completely in mode of passion and ignorance. So they don't want to contaminate. So what happens because they are not contaminated by passion and ignorance, even once they hear these instructions, for rest of the life they can happily practice without any difficulty. But for us, we are hearing, going on, hearing, but still it is very difficult for us to digest and understand. Some of the instructions they just met once, and rest of the life they are practicing. How is it possible only once? Like that, we are hearing the same instruction from years and years, years together, and nothing changes because we are so much affected by lower moods. So, these sages and all this. Now Kapila want to travel and deliver so many other living entities. And but some of the instructions, fortunately, they are recorded so that in future others can benefit. So like this, Kapila gave this instruction might have many times to many sages, but what he gave to his mother is recorded and by Vyasdev, and it was actually spoken by Sukadev Goswami, recorded by Vyasdev, and we are getting benefited. The mission of appearance of Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Kapila was to distribute the transcendental knowledge of Sankhya philosophy, which is full of devotional service. Even though it is analytical study, it is full of devotion. Having imparted that knowledge to his mother and through his mother to the world, Kapiladev had no more need to stay at home. So he took permission from his mother and left. And Prabhupada writes, apparently he left home for spiritual revelation, although he had nothing to realize spiritually, because he himself is a person to be spiritually realized. Therefore, this is an example set by the Supreme Lord while acting like an ordinary human so that others might learn from him. So you just cannot stay at home continuously whole life. You just have to leave home. Actually, it is so nice to leave home because you become free from all the entanglements. This is such a horrible place and very painful, all these relationships and all. We have to give up one day. And it is such a big relief and such a big uh, Mm, mm. Such a nice thing, actually. Best thing that can happen to a person is get rid of all this, all these relationships. Very painful for all this because this ahankara is actually holding us, and all these relationships are illusory, and they are not going to give any benefit for us. Of course, now it looks like we are benefiting. We get some emotional support, some this, that. That this is all illusory. That's not real pleasure, also, anyway. That's why all this. Therefore, this is an example set by the Supreme Personality of Godhead while acting like an ordinary human so that others might learn from him. He could, of course, have stayed with his mother, but he intended that there was no need to stay with the family. It is best to remain alone as a brahmachari, sannyasi, or vanaprastha and cultivate Krishna consciousness. So this is best is to remain alone only. This is what Prabhupada is telling. And cultivate Krishna consciousness throughout one's life. Those who are unable to remain alone are given license to live in household life with wife and children, not for sense gratification but cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Best life is alone life. And rest assured, this is very good life. And it gives so much time and peace of mind. सा चापि तनयोक्तेन योगादेशेन योगयुक्तस्मिन् आश्रम आपाध्ये सरस्वत्या समाहिता. As instructed by her son, Devati also began to practice Bhakti Yoga. So she also started doing. No exemption. She also practiced in this very same ashrama. She practiced samadhi in the house of Kardamuni, which is so beautifully decorated with flowers, and it was considered the flower crown of river Saraswati. So she must be having some other maids and some other people also there to help her. Devatis did not leave her homes because it is never recommended for women to leave her home. She is dependent. The very example of Devati was that she was not when she was not married, she was under care of her father, Swayambhu Manu, and when Swayambhu Manu gave her to Kardamuni in charity, she was under the care of her husband in her youth, and when her son Kapila Muni was born, as soon as her son grew up, her husband left home, and similarly the son, after discharging his duty towards his mother, also left. So she could also have left home, but she did not. Rather, she remained at home and began to practice Bhakti Yoga as it was instructed by her great son, Kapila Muni. And because of her practice of Bhakti Yoga, the entire home became just like a flower crown on the river Saraswati. Very sweet for Mother Devati. अभीक्ष्णावगा कपिशान जलितान् कुटुलालकान् आत्मानं चोग्रतपसा बिभ्रति चीर्णां क्षिराम् बिभ्रति शीर्णां कृष्णम्. She began to bathe 3 times daily, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey. Due to austerity, her body gradually became thin, and she wore old garments. So now she also started doing such very great austerities, bathing 3 times. This is compulsory for sannyasis. And her black hair became grey. Even Mother Devati hair also became grey. So there is no exemption even for the Mother of Lord. Her hair also will become grey. Of course, it is a pastime for her, but to show all of us, especially for uh, cosmetic industries, so many people are supporting this cosmetic industry because they want to grow the economy. But they are told that after some age they have to give up that. Then they should take up the role uh, of course, means they should accept reality. That's what I want to tell. Everybody will get gray, but they have to accept reality. So then what happens? Mind becomes peaceful. So the reality is everybody will become old. This world is not very unfair, but because it is unfair for everyone, that's why it is fair. We don't want to become old. We don't want to uh, look old. We don't want to become weak, but it happens. It looks very unfair, but it is unfair for everyone. That's why it is fair. Due to her austerity, her body gradually became thin and Shiva. It is a practice of yogis, brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, sannyas to bathe at least 3 times daily. Early in the morning, during noontime, and in the evening. These principles are strictly followed even by some grahasthas, especially brahmanas, who are elevated in spiritual consciousness. Devati was king's daughter and almost a king's wife also. Although Kardamuni was not a king, by his yogic mystic power, he accommodated Devahuti very comfortably in nice place with maid servants and all opulence. But since she has already learned austerities, even in the comfortability in a nice place with maid servants and all opulence, but since she has learned austerities even in the presence of her husband, there was no difficulty for her to be austere. This is a very, very important point. Even though she was living in such a palatial buildings and all opulences, she continued to do austerities. Still, because of her body underwent severe austerities after the departure of her husband and son, she became thin. And Prabhupada writes, to be too fat is not very good for spiritual advance. Like, it does not mean people are not advanced devotees, but it is not very good because it is not favorable. Rather, one should reduce because if one becomes fat, it is impediment to progress in spiritual understanding. So one should reduce because if one becomes fat, it is impediment to progress in spiritual understanding. This is Prabhupada saying. It is we should not say that somebody who's fat is not advanced. That is not correct. It is actually causing them some problems in they could have made more advancement, but some things will restrict them. So that's the point. One should be careful not to eat too much, sleep too much, or remain in a comfortable position. Voluntarily accepting some penance and difficulties, one should take less food and less sleep. These are the processes for practicing any kind of yoga, whether bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, or hatha yoga. प्राजापत्ये कर्दमस्य तपो योगा विजृम्भितं स्वग्राहस्थम् अनुनुपम्यं प्रारत्यं वैमि वैमिनाक्यपि. Okay, so the question is how uh, how it becomes impediment. Actually, what happens now? Our food is directly related to our consciousness. So if we eat so much, then when you are chanting, it is affecting your chanting. If we are eating very opulent food that increases our weight, of course, some people have heavy body because of hormones. It's not because of eating. So here in this case, when Prabhupada is telling of very fat, it is indicating in terms of our eating. When you eat and become fat, but some people have hormone problem. Like my mother, she had some hormones issue, so she gained some weight, not because of her eating. So like that, there will be some people with hormone, but others. What Prabhupada is trying to tell is, when we are eating opulent food, it immediately affects our chanting, and you try to eat less, like ekadasis and sometimes, and we work on reducing our eating. If you take grains food only twice in a day, it will improve the quality of chanting very much. So that is very much proportionate, because it is proportionate to what happens is our mind, the energy is needed for digestion. Digestion is not any economical activity. It's actually takes so much of energy. It's so the energy goes to the stomach more to digest the food. Then the energy is not there for our brain. And but if energy is stored there, then we will become more intelligent and in understanding and in focusing, concentrating. Like say, for example, you got up at 4 o'clock and we took full plate of nice prasadam. And when we sit for chanting, definitely we'll not be able to focus. At after lunch at 1 o'clock, we sit for chanting. We'll not be able to focus. But 4 o'clock, don't eat anything. We just took some water and drank some water and sat for chanting. We can focus. Why? Because nothing is there in the stomach. Our stomach is free that time. But at 1 o'clock after lunch, stomach is filled, mind cannot concentrate. So it is directly proportionate to our food, and consciousness are proportionate. So we have to be very careful. That's why prasadam only, why very simple prasadam, why very regulated amount. All these things are to help our consciousness progress. So it's connected. And so if you are eating opulent food, so much of all this nice paneer every day and, and all these things, will have problem. Another problem with these rich people who have so much opulent is they are making their senses very weak. We feed the senses more and more and more. The senses become more and more weak, and they demand more. And that is also very detrimental for spiritual growth. Like if I don't eat sweet every day, then my tongue is so much disturbed. That means what? We have made it, we become slave to our tongue. If I don't hear certain things, see certain things, we have to control our senses in that way, especially our tongue, eyes, so that we are very peaceful in chanting the holy name. So ultimately, it is connected to our chanting only, how much we are able to focus. So that's why this type. And another point with the body is like we are having fat body, we need more rest also. Will not be able to uh, do some activities very quickly. So these things are there. Basically, it's connected to consciousness, because body, the proportionate to consciousness only, because spiritual practice is connected to consciousness. So anything that disturbs our consciousness, we should not do. So that is the point. Clear, Mataji? The question. What if we get Rajbhog for Prasadam? What to do in that case? Yeah, Rajbhog is for Lord only. We are not Rajas to every day eat Rajbhog. Once in a while we can eat. But if you eat Rajbhog every day, our quality of chanting will reduce. It may go down also. We cannot eat Rajbhog. It is very dangerous. Uh, yes, Proji.
Thank you,
Sachin.
Prabhuji. Dandatanam, Prabhuji.
Then,
What happened now, Prabhuji? We don't take any, we don't have any opportunity of any other prasad. And suppose Rajbhog is coming and it's not, yes, definitely it is opulent in case of, it's not so opulent in some of the temples. We can take whatever is not like, definitely, but without, rather than eating non prasadam, eating prasadam is better, na?
True. Rajbhog, na, in that some items you have to avoid. You can take
Ah,
rice, dal, sabji, chapati from Rajbhog.
that I
Every day
must.
you eat the rich sweets that are coming in Rajbhog, and that is the problem. Rajbhog itself, and you have some items which are very safe in Rajbhog also.
Ah,
So the point is that we should not make our tongue weak. We should regulate it, restrict it. What happens now? We satisfy tongue, it affects our consciousness so much.
mm,
We will not be able to focus. And
mm,
not that we should not eat. Once in a while we can take
mm,
because this prasadam we should satisfy our tongue. But so much satisfaction, it is risky actually.
mm.
Night time especially we have to avoid any heavy food in the night.
Yeah, yeah.
Going
Night
to
time.
affect the chanting.
Mm. Thank you, thank you.
And what happens, bro? What happens now? When we get such opulent food, we forget Krishna and we remember we are in the mood of enjoying that food,
Mm.
prasadam. That is also a problem.
Actually, for me, some tiffin comes from temple in Rajbhag only, and I don't have any other opportunity to have any prasadam. So I take only one meal that, and then another is only fruits or salad. So I have to adjust with that because otherwise, uh,
One
I,
item, one, two items which are very rich, you avoid, and remaining all things are simple only.
yeah, yes, bro.
That is not a problem only. I also take one meal, but I take nicely, so it's not a problem. Only thing is there are some special items made in that, that is a
Uh,
problem.
thank you, thank you.
Correct. Yeah, it is. Yeah, limited quantity, anything in limited quantity is always safe. Even sweet also somebody may take every day. Somebody may need that, but it's not a problem if they are taking limited quantity. They are having requirement, they can take. If they are regulated, I have seen also some devotees like some Maharajas also. They take every day little sweet because that is helpful for their health. Because all tastes are needed. Actually, previously the cooking was done by Brahmanas for the kings or any big people. The cooking they used to employ Brahmanas. Why Brahmanas? Brahmanas are very intelligent, so they know what all items should be everyday served. So all types of tastes are everyday given. Bitter, sour, sweet, all the five types of taste, they make all the items properly. So that what happens is if our tongue gets all types of taste every day, it grows in terms of consciousness also. The consciousness will be very healthy. If you give only one variety all the time, then it is a problem. We should give all varieties. All taste should be covered. That's why the body is made like that. It should be harmony. Harmony should be there. Like nowadays, like people take all these fast foods and also they take all these cool drinks, and this is actually so much extra sweet, extra fat. It is very dangerous. It should be properly given, properly cooked, and there should be sharp, there should be bitter, there should be this, that. So, of course, now we may not be able to do, but another very simple formula to know is regional and seasonal. Whatever is the seasonal vegetables and fruits, what is the regional in our area, whatever is available, that is also very healthy. We may not get everything in all areas, and now the problem is we can get Oranges from South Africa, pomegranates from Afghanistan. Everywhere they freeze it for 1 month and bring it to different countries. That is just for taste we can take, but it is not really needed for the body. Body needs regional and seasonal. Whatever is in our region, whatever is seasonal. So that is how it is very helpful. Main all the taste because it gives overall growth of our consciousness. So that's the system. We'll just take this one last verse. The home and household paraphernalia of Kardamuni, who was one of the Prajapatis, were developed in such a way by dint of his mystic power of austerity and yoga that his opulence was sometimes envied by those who traveled in outer space in aeroplanes. So he's so opulent ashram. The statement in this verse that Kardama's household affairs were envied even by persons who travel in outer space refers to denizens of heaven. Their airships are not only like those who have invented in modern ages, which fly only from one country to another. Their airplanes are capable of from going from one planet to another. There are many such statements in Srimad Bhagavatam from which one can we can understand that there are facilities to travel from one planet to another, especially in the higher planet system, and who can say that they are not still traveling. The speed of our aeroplane and space vehicle is very limited, but as we have already studied, Kardamuni traveled in outer space in an aeroplane, which was like a city, and he journeyed to all the different heavenly planets. That was not an ordinary aeroplane, nor was it ordinary space travel. But Kardamuni was such a powerful mystic yogi, his opulence was envied by denizens of heaven. Okay, thank you very much. We will continue our discussion.